Back again with another video coming at you from digitalmarketingfast.com. It's digitalmarketingfast.com. So today I'm going to talk about how to start making money online with no money down. Zero money. Because when I first came online, I didn't have very much money to invest. Very little. I didn't have a blog. I didn't have money to create a blog. And I had to do what I had to do. I had to work with what I had at the time. I didn't have a big budget. I didn't have I wasn't a programmer. I'm not a designer. I'm still not a designer. That's not my strength. So I know there's a lot of people that's coming online, or maybe they're already online, and they wondering, well, what can I do to get started if my money's low? And that's a good question, So if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have learned how to be a copywriter first. I learned the art and the skills of being a copywriter first. Now, if you don't know what a copywriter is, that's salesmanship in print. That's all it is. As a matter of fact, I think I might have a copywriting book near me. Let's see. No, probably not. I don't have one of my copywriting books near me. Let's see. Yeah, I actually have one by me. This is a copywriting book, basically. Just sell the damn thing. By Doberman Dan. Just sell a damn thing. This book is all about being a copywriter. It's all about writing copy. It's all about writing headlines, writing sales letters, the art and persuasion of selling in print. That's what this book is all about, basically, in a nutshell. So that's what I would have done. And you don't have to go to college to be a copywriter. You don't have to be certified. You don't have to have any letters behind your name to be a copywriter. And it's a very lucrative profession, I must say. It really is. Very lucrative. Very. I mean, as an entry-level writer, I've heard anywhere between, salary-wise, I've heard anywhere between $50 to $120,000 if you work for a company. Now, the copywriters that are, I guess, contracted, they do contract work, and they create their own economy as well. So I'll give you an example. Some copywriters, their specialty might be writing sales letters. For the average sales letter, you can get anywhere between $300 3 to, well, on the low end, 2 to, Jesus Christ, 10,000 on average. That's just average. That's just entry level, right? Now, if you're a seasoned writer, man, for a sales letter, you can get, I've heard 20, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 and royalties. If you're a seasoned writer, now if you're the top guy in your field, oh my goodness, you can make millions as a copywriter. But if you're a top guy, you've been doing it for like at least 20 years or better. So you can demand top dollar at that point, And then you got some guys and girls, I should say, they specialize in social media. Then you got some specialize in this website content, and some specialize in headlines, like those guys and girls that work at the National Enquirer. I mean, the headlines you see on the front of these magazines, like National Enquirer is a good example of it. That's all they do all day, just headlines. They get paid like over 100,000, easy. That's all they do all day long, is just do headlines, 5 days a week, however long they work. I don't know. You know what I mean? So they do that all day long. And then you have some copywriters, they'll start their own business on the side. They'll have it could be anything, man. Could be a consultant business, could be a supplement business, could be a publishing business. It could be, what else, man? I've heard all kinds of stuff, man. Stuff that I've never even thought about doing. I mean, it could be I heard a chicken business. All kinds of crazy stuff. A gardening business. It's all kind of stuff people come up with. People have to be willing to buy whatever you have to offer. That's all. That's really all. That's the whole idea behind it. It doesn't matter how crazy I think starting a chicken business is. I would never think about doing anything like that. But people out here, they're doing it. Some people start a vegetable business, a fruit business on the side of the road, all kinds of stuff. Whatever sells, man. That's what it's really all about. If you can get a steady stream of people buying whatever you have to sell, that's all. That's what it's all about. Regardless of how crazy I think some of this stuff people be starting. Hey, if they making money from it, hey man, more power to them, bro. If I had to do it all over again, man, I would have learned to be the art and persuasion of being a copywriter. That way I could leverage my skills into other things, other incomes. I could be a consultant, etc. But I didn't start off like that. I started off doing videos. And then I started placing ads offline in newspapers and stuff like that. But I didn't have to write the ad. Someone gave me the ad. So all I did is just copy and paste the ad on a website that was available back in the day. And all I had to do was pay for the ad. The ad was already written. So I didn't really have to think about doing anything. Everything was already given to me. It was passed down. So I used to place ads, little small ads in newspapers for I think it was like $50. This is like 15 years ago. Like $50. Have people call my 800 number, send them a booklet in the mail. And some of those people that read the booklet would buy into this mastermind community at the time. And I was an affiliate of that mastermind. So that's how I got started. And then YouTube came about. And then I started doing video. It was YouTube and some other site came about at the time. I started doing videos on those sites. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I mean, like, I didn't have any, I wasn't writing any books or anything back then. You know, I didn't have a blog or anything, like I have today. So I was kind of like, I was just being told what to do by somebody, basically. All I had to do was just pay the money for the service at the time. Newspaper, whatever I had to do to get clients coming in, get traffic to my blog, website, or whatever, And once people called the 800 number, all they did is just leave their number and address most of the time. I actually had two 800 numbers at the time. One number was they were supposed to leave their name and number, and I would follow up with them. And the other number was to leave their name and their address. And sometimes I would follow up with them just to make sure I had the right address, at the time or whatever. And if I had copywriting skills back then, I would have gotten into affiliate marketing way earlier, because there's a lot of affiliate programs out here. Walmart, Target, Amazon, man, you name it. But those are low tier, low paying affiliate, programs. You got ClickBank. ClickBank is probably at this point the biggest. Clickbank.com. You got there's some other ones too, but I don't really use any other one besides ClickBank. And I would have built me an email list much earlier. What up, James? Yeah, it's been a while. Is that something that is started as a proposal? Well, being a copywriter? Their website to be certified to copyright or something? No, not copyright. Copywriter. Yeah, not copyrights. No, I'm not talking about that. No, I'm talking about being an actual writer. Yeah, talking about being a writer. It's a certain style of writing. When you look at the commercial, James, and when people are talking in the commercials, there's somebody that wrote that script, and that person is the copywriter. It's like script writers, like speech writers. Speech writers are copywriters. That's what I'm talking about, James. It's like when you go to buy something on any website, Walmart, Amazon, whatever. If you see a banner on the side of the highway when you're driving, especially on a state highway, interstate, when you see those big banners, James, that says whatever. It might say some lawyer or some attorneys is advertising their business. The person that wrote that banner ad is a copywriter. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I would have done it Long time ago, man. But hey, I just didn't know. Because people will tell you, hey, if you come online, oh, but no certification. No, there's no certification. No. Nope, you don't have to have no certification. You don't have to work for anybody. You can do your own thing. Yeah, you can come online, create your own website from top to bottom. No one needs your permission to do that. You don't need anyone's permission to do that. You can do that yourself. If you can write all the text, all the content on your website, you can do it. You don't got to pay nobody to do that. You don't need any permission from anybody to do that. There's a lot of books out here that can teach you how to do it. Or you can go to conferences. You can go to digitalmarketingfast.com. That'll teach you how to be a copywriter, basically. Because if you don't know, you don't have skills to be a copywriter online, it's going to be very difficult for you to do anything. Actually, the crazy thing is, I don't think it's crazy, but the funny thing is, once you learn copywriting, you can use it in almost all aspects of your life. You can use this skill in almost all aspects of your life. I don't care what kind of job you got, especially if you got a service job, a customer service job, and even in your personal life. Because once you know what copywriting teaches you what to say and how to say it at the appropriate time. So you can use this in all aspects of your life. It's not just a gimmick. Yeah, I heard it's great for contracts. Yeah, you can write. Yeah, it's good for writing up your contracts. Exactly. It's good for writing up proposals. Because a lot of people don't know how to write proposals. They don't know what words to use. So, yeah, it's perfect for writing up proposals and contracts. It's good for writing anything. Books, video scripts, websites, DVDs, movies, videos, banner ads. Man, I can go on and on. Commercials, you name it. That, matter of fact, learning the skills of being a copywriter gave me the confidence to write my books. That's how I got the confidence to do it, to write it. Because the first book I wrote, I never planned to have that book published in paperback. I never planned to have that book published, period. I didn't plan that. I wasn't even thinking like that. I had that. My first book was sitting on my computer for 2 years before I published it in digital format. And then after that, it was another year before I put it in paperback format. Did it take long? No, it didn't take long. I just didn't. The stuff I was writing at the time That was for my blog. I had 6 months of content, 6 months of articles and content for my blog. And I used to let it sit there. And then one day a girl came over to my house and she said, "Hey, you need to put this stuff out. You need to self-publish this stuff." And I'm like, "Can you even do that?" I didn't even know that. So that's how so I looked into it after she left, and that's how that came about. But it was good, but it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. The first book. It's okay, but it's not as good as I wanted it to be. But people were saying that they liked it. So I'm like, okay, let's put it out and see what it do. See what type of response I get. So I sold a couple hundred copies of it. But I didn't know how to promote the book at the time. Even though I sold a couple hundred copies, it's still selling today. I sold a couple hundred copies and it was cool. Now, this book, the second book, I went all in on this book. All in, 110%. Because by the time I started writing that book, my writing skills was getting much better. I mean, at one point, I was writing like, shit. I was writing like 5,000 words a day. I was doing like 5,000 words a day for like 2 weeks straight. 7 days a week. I did 5,000 words for 2 weeks straight. Yeah, man, that was. I think I was in a zone, man. Yeah, I was in a zone. I had so much. I think when I got done writing, I had about, Jesus Christ, how much I had? About 30,000 words, and half of it I took out. I took out half of that, and I was down to about 15,000 words, just over 15,000 words. You know, it takes a lot of discipline, man, to write books. Write books. This is 100 and how much? 150. Yeah, about 147 pages. Yeah, so it took me about the first book. It took me about really 6 months to write everything, and I let it was sitting there for like 2 years. And the second book took me about uh took me like a year, about a year. But I got most of it done in that 2 week span when I was writing 5,000 words for 2 weeks. So it took about a year, and then I got it edited twice. Had two editors, and that was pretty much the gist of it. You know, I got somebody to do a cover. That only took like, I don't know, probably like 2 weeks, a week or two, something like it. A little over a week. And I got somebody to do the designs inside and out. Yeah, that took about 2 weeks, really. And that was pretty much it, man. You know, as a matter of next month. Yes, next month. No, actually, June. Actually, last month. Last month was 2 years since I published this book. 2 years. You know. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this video. That's what I would do, you know, if I had to do it all over again, especially if you coming online and you don't have a big budget. Hey, but if you got a big budget, if you got investors or whatever the case is, I would still take the same approach. Because you're gonna have to learn. You should learn copywriting any way it goes. Even if you have to hire somebody, you should know what copywriting is all about. Because if you hire a copywriter, it might jerk you around. So it still pays to know what it's really all about. Because it doesn't matter what area you want to make money in, earn money in, or start a full-fledged business in. Copywriting, marketing, and sales is always going to come into play regardless. How is it my own money? All of it. All of it. In the beginning, man, I paid okay, let's get it like this. In the beginning, to get a blog, the hosting was $10. The website, I did the website on my own. That cost me about $20 for the template, and I wrote the HTML code and all that stuff by myself. So it cost less than $100 to get started. And to do videos at the time, I bought a camera. I had a camera already. So I didn't have to really buy no camera. Like I said, that the little ads I used to place, that was only $50. $50 every month. $50 every 30 days. And so every time I made a sale, I reinvested the money back into what I was doing at the time. So, there's a couple $100, to really get off the ground. It took me, I had to make a couple $100 to reinvest the money back for me to get started, really. Which wasn't bad at all. Because, I was on a shoestring budget at the time. And keep in mind, there was no Google didn't exist back then. There was no Google. There were no Facebook. There was MySpace back then. MySpace. Facebook came afterwards. That was it. Pretty much. You had newspapers, magazines, MySpace. What else you had back then? That's about it. The only thing I could afford anyway at the time. I couldn't afford radio ads. No, radio ads was expensive back then. I couldn't afford the magazine. Magazines expensive. That's still expensive to this day. But I like magazine ads though. I ran a magazine ad. This was like years later though. So you just got to use what you got until you get to a point where you can do what you want. That's the whole idea. Really. And then the more money I started to make, you're going to need help. You're going to need people to help you out. Either partners or interns or people you pay, regardless. You're not going to be able to do everything. The more people you bring in, this is a mistake that I made. Because I thought that I don't know why I thought this. I thought that I could handle everything by myself. No, that was a mistake because I had so many phone calls coming in, and I'm putting stuff. I got to go to the post office to deliver these booklets. So I had so much phone calls coming in, and I had to deliver so many packages at the post office. I started to get behind a lot. So that if I knew what I knew now back then, I would have just hired somebody that helped me out along the way instead of trying to do all that shit by myself. Because you got to think about it, I'm still working a full-time job back then. So I'm getting off work and I'm packing, just putting stuff in envelopes and stuff like that, booklets in envelope. And even before work, I'm doing this. And even before work, I'm going to the post office and bagging and putting stuff in the envelope and dropping stuff off at the post office. So I should have got help. That's what I should have done. But I didn't know any better. And when I had all the phone calls coming in, some of them were going to 800 numbers. Some of them were automated, but some of it was going directly to a 800 number, and I was answering the phone. If I would have known what I known back then, I would have got help on that phone calls too. But I didn't know any better, So I had a good problem. The good problem was I knew how to get my phone ringing. I know how to get people to call me. I know how to get people to ask for information. But I did not know how to manage my time well back then. That's the mistake that I made. So the publisher wasn't distributing for you. Yeah, if somebody bought something, that's when they sent the product to them. Yeah. The publishing company had all the material that people had to buy. So the publishing company would give me the booklets and I would give it out to people, whether through the mail, through somebody that went to my blog on MySpace or whatever. And when somebody bought something, because the publisher's number was on the booklet, and the publisher's website was on the booklet as well. So they could call or go to the website and buy whatever. And when I sent them the booklet, I would direct the booklet directs people to a presentation, which was basically a phone call. Basically, So a lot of people. So let's just say out of 100 people, 100 people on a phone call, which the presentation on the phone was about an hour. So if I get 100 people on the telephone to listen to the presentation, probably 7 or 8 on average would buy a book, or they would buy into the mastermind, which was a membership site. So the membership fee was, at the time, it was $97 a month, right? And that was every month. The $97, it was a 50%. That was 50%. So I would get half of that every month, and I would get half of the books, the DVDs that they had. So yeah, the publisher, they did their job. worked out well. The only thing I had to do is learn how to get clients. And they taught us that. They had training. So it was a good time back then, man. I must say, I learned a lot back then. I learned a lot. If I didn't ran into those, it was a girl that I ran into back then. You know? So it was some good times back then, man. The guy that started the publishing company back then, he retired. He retired in 2012. So I had a good run, man. I was with them for, my goodness, 10 years. I was with them, with that company. I had good times, man. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about business. I learned a lot about copywriting. I learned a lot about just people in general. You know? So I had a good time, man. I wouldn't change anything about it. I haven't met any group of people like that since that dude retired. Because when he retired, you know, his kids, they're young, so he had nobody to really pass the company down to so they can take it over. He didn't have nobody to do that, so he just shut everything down once he retired. But he was an older guy. When I met him, he was 50. So I knew he wasn't gonna be around but so long, because he was in the 50s when I met him. So, you know, it is what it is. I think I'll do the book and see how it goes. What kind of book? What do you want to write about? See, I already knew what I was already writing before I even wrote a book. That's the thing. Creed and poems. Oh, okay. Yeah, but word of advice: create an audience before you start writing. That's just word of advice. Don't do like I did. I wrote the book first before I had an audience. Don't do that. That's a mistake. See, if you write the book first before you have an audience, that's an uphill battle. You know, that's going to be very difficult. See, that's what most people do. Most people write the book first and they don't got no audience. It's an uphill battle then. And then you're going to be like, man, this shit ain't working. Yeah, nobody want to buy your shit but your family. And even some of them don't want to buy it. See, I didn't tell none of my family, nobody in my family bought any of my books. Not one. Because I never asked them. I didn't have to ask them. But this is what happened with most people. Most people don't have no audience. The only people that buy the books is their family or their relative. And they buy it because they don't want to make you feel bad. But I don't think it's something that catches on. Catches on like what? What do you mean catches on? See, I am like nowhere in social media. No presence whatsoever. You don't have to be on social media. Really? But you have to go where people want to buy your stuff. That's the thing. It don't gotta be social media. It can be a magazine. It could be a trade show. It could be a place where they speak spoken words. You know, wherever the people at, that like poems, that's where you need to be. I don't even know if it's on social media. I don't know. I never looked. But there's places where I live, for example, people speak spoken words. They have spoken words on certain nights. So if I was writing poems, I would go on stage. I would get attention somehow, some way. I mean, whatever, that's just practical thinking, basically. That's just strategy. If you want somebody to buy your stuff, you have to be in their presence. You have to be in that space. Or if you know somebody else that write poems and they have a platform, contact them and say, hey, let's be partners. Cut a deal. A lot of people do that. The type of book I don't think would catch on. Well, if that's not the type of book that would catch on, you don't need to be writing it. You don't need to be writing it then. Because if no one wants to buy it, it's a waste of time. It's good for, maybe it might be good for you and your family and to pass down to your kids, your son or your daughter. That's cool. But if you want to sell your books and if no one's buying it or no one's looking to buy it, you shouldn't be writing it. That's what the mistakes that a lot of people make. They'll write books and put it out in the marketplace and nobody wants to buy it. They don't have an audience. No one wants to buy it. And then they get pissed off and be like, this shit don't work, man. They might sell 20 copies. Less than 100, for sure. Most people's books, I don't know if you know this, James. Most people's books, they usually sell less than 100 copies. Like total. Forever. Like total. Period. See, I didn't change it to write for Hallmark or Walmart or Walgreens. What you want to write, like what? Hallmark? That's like cards? A Hallmark, what? Cards or some shit like that? Well, I don't know much about the card companies, to be honest. So I can't really say. I don't really know how they do business, to be honest. You know. It's not too much in the writing cards. Really. You know. They might have at best 2 writers in there. That's pretty much it. That's not a big operation. Really. It can't be. Not at this point. Maybe it used to be, but not today. That's a small operation. You know. I mean, today you can get there's services that you can get to send out anything in the mail today. They'll send cookies, brownies, thank you cards. There's companies that they specialize in sending cards in the mail to people that you want. So, you know, it's not a big operation. It's not even expensive. You might pay like, man, I've heard from $19 a month to $97 a month. And you can send cards brownies to thousands of people worldwide. They take care of everything. All you need to give them is the address and pick the card that you want sent and tell them what you want to say on the card. And you can design everything on the web on their website. So yeah, this is services out here now, man. You can pretty much find any type of service you want out here today. You know, we just live in a different time today. You know, technology is dominating how we live, basically. You know, so you know, it is what it is, man. It's pros and cons, of course. You know, so hey, you know, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you need any help with anything online, go to digitalmarketingfast.com. And P.S. and by the way, if you want, like, say, marketing tips, online tips on how to start some type of side hustle, go to my website, lopezlassane.com. And when you get to my website, which is my blog, on the top right-hand side, put in your name and your email address. And you get marketing tips, concepts, strategies emailed to you straight from me every week about social media, marketing, money making, etc. You know. So hey, until next time I'm out. Peace.